That's what I call art.
What's up guys, Jim Collector here, back with another video, and today we have our very first artisan figure, the Hot Toys Artisan Imposter Joker. So I am eager to check this figure out, and I will be doing some comparisons to the InArt Joker sculpt as well, so sit back, relax, and let's check out some figures. Alright guys, let's get stuck into this figure, and the box art is absolutely lovely. We obviously have the theme of the figure, which is the imposter kind of theme, the kind of purple and green going throughout, as well as the red highlights here and there. It's a really nice, you can see the Hot Toys exclusive up the top. Round the side we have more of the purple and green, as well as the red Joker sign. And then on the back we have all of the whodunits. And pretty much more on this side. Now this is a slip cover. So if I slip this on off like so, we have some more box art in the back. So here we have some more box art, and it looks quite nice. I do like this. So this looks like an actual shot of the figure, which is really exciting. You can see "Why So Serious," which is probably Joker's most famous line from the Christopher Nolan trilogy. And then the "ha ha 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 ha" all down here, which, if I'm being honest, has a very Suicide Squad feel to it. Down here we have the Joker. Now this reminds me of the older Hot Toys releases of this figure, which isn't surprising because it's been a while since we've had one of these figures released. Another shot of what I believe is a figure here, as well as some information about the Clown Prince of Crime as well. Now this is a fold open box, which is something we haven't seen before. So we get our first quick look at the head sculpt in here, in this kind of window, which I kind of like how they package this. It's a little bit different from InArt, so it's nice to see. And then we get a quick look at the figure here as well. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to go and open up this guy. You do get two different slots, so we're going to slice these on open and then see what's inside. Okay, so inside that top sleeve, we do of course get the head sculpt. This is kind of how the packaging looks like in here, and then some instruction manuals on, well, instruction on how to take off the head sculpt, which I really like because InArt did not include this. When I had my Pennywise, it took me a full minute to realize you had to twist that off. Maybe I'm just dumb, but it's nice to see that. And of course we get a quick look at the head sculpt there, and guys, gosh, it does look absolutely phenomenal. But more of that later. The rest of the figure in here, and this is very reminiscent of your normal kind of standard Hot Toys unboxing. Now bear in mind this is an artisan, so that is a little bit disappointing, but Hot Toys have chosen a very interesting way to kind of spice this up, and I'm going to try and show you now on camera. So you get your standard clamshell, as you can see, but the clamshell in here is velvet. So this all has like a velvet overlay, which is kind of an interesting way to spice up or premiumize the box art without really premiumizing it. Premiumizing it. There we go, that's a word. But obviously here we have a quick look at the body itself, and it does look really nice with the different colors. But first of all, I do want to get a quick look at the accessories tray. So we'll do that now. All right, so here is the accessories tray, and this looks really nice. And the first thing that I will say off the bat is, of course, the accessories, unlike the InArt, are not metal. So this is a plastic gun, although it is nicely done, I won't lie. So you can see some good shading, some kind of dirt effects all throughout as well, a bit of weathering here and there. It does cock back, so it has working parts as well, which is nice. And of course the stock does fold and unfold, so I do like that. Going on, we do have his Glock. Is it a Glock? I don't know, guys, let me know. Which again, I think does it? Oh, yes, you can take out this piece here, and I'm pretty sure you can cock back the gun as well, which you can. I just don't really want to break it. It is on a spring, so it springs back into place. It's nicely made, I won't lie. It's again, it's plastic, which is good because it'll be easier for the figure to hold it, but it just doesn't have as much of that premium feel. Moving on, we have his shotgun, which InArt did not include, which is a huge shame. This is nicely done. Again, more plastic, but really expert paintwork, which is what we've come to expect from Hot Toys. It has a nice sheen to it, and it does have a working pump, which is good to see as well. So really do like this accessory, and it's something we miss off of the Hot Toys. Then of course you do get his batarangs in here as well, which all have that kind of similar red and purple and green paint to it, which is nice, carrying on the theme of the figure. We do get the different grenades, which again are also made of plastic, which I don't know about you, but I found with my InArt one, the metal grenades are a bit too heavy and they actually fell off the strings. They came undone, which is a bit of a shame. So probably a win there. And then of course you get his deck of cards, all of which, I'm not going to take them out, but all of which are, they are printed. Alright, so here we have the main tray, and we're going to take a quick look at this body, and it is nice. Now, I have never owned this version of Batman before. I've only ever had the, which ones have I had? I've had the Batfleck, and I've had the Val Kilmer Batman, and that is it. And this is nicely done. Like, look, I know we gave a lot of crap about this being a repaint, and it definitely is a cheap money grab repaint from Hot Toys, but it looks beautiful. Look at that armor and that paintwork. It does look really nice. This is going to stand out on that shelf. Quick look at the neck joint in here as well. And here we have that cape that he comes along with, which is really nicely weathered. Of course, it is just a drape. There's no wires in this at all, so you can't do much with that. But it is nicely done. Has a really strong paint smell though, guys. If I'm being honest, it has a very strong paint smell. It smells chemically, which is interesting to say the least. Of course, then you do have the belt here. Looking throughout, it's just really nice paintwork. Look at these shin guards. God, it's beautiful. It has a nice shine to it as well. Absolutely love what I'm seeing here on this body. On the back, it's more of the same. Really nice work on this. I do like it. The paint apps are phenomenal and it stands out quite nicely. It's definitely going to pop on your shelf. These are all the hands he comes with, along with some hands that are on the figure as well, which are your basic set fisted hands. He obviously has his hands for the card and batarangs, various gesturing hands as well, but he does not come with a lot of stuff at all. So considering the amount of accessories you get, this is not a very cost-effective figure at all. Now looking at the base, I do like the base design. It is very nice. It does have the kind of bat signal, and I believe we've seen this before, and it's kind of red, and it looks like it has drips of blood throughout, which is a nice effect. It is attached to this other base, which kind of ruins its ability to be a diorama piece. It does have the lights in it, which I'm not sure if they work or not. That has not been confirmed yet. I'll have to have a look to see if they do work, but Hot Toys have been known of including these before and then not adding any switch to it. But we'll have to get this off. I do think because of the way that it's sealed that you won't be able to turn this on, which is a bit annoying. Again, it's kind of another cheap reuse of a base. This is back from the Terminator days that they used to use these as little lights on it. So that's a bit of a letdown, I will not lie, but I do like the plaque here. It says the Joker with the Batman logo, and the rest of the paint apps do look very nice. You also get your standard crotch grabber with this one, and of course you do get in the box your tool to, what is this for? Interesting. We're going to have to see what they use this tool for. I might have to check the instructions. With Iron Man, you generally use it for the batteries. Are there batteries in this? Potentially for this. We'll have a check in a moment. And then you do get your eye tool in this piece as well. Alright guys, let's finally get our look at this head sculpt, and it looks fantastic. Now this is obviously the Hot Toys way of doing the base. Now I will say, I prefer the way that InArt do this. Got a couple wraps of plastic on it. I do prefer overall the way InArt kind of stores its figures. This is a nice display though, I won't lie, but I like the kind of silver that they have at the bottom. It's all about presentation. I feel like InArt just wins it a bit on style in that way. Now, I am guessing, yep, you just slide that off the base. And guys, there we have it. That is our Joker head sculpt. Now, the smell of product in his hair is very strong. In fact, the whole plasticky smell, I want to know if other people have noticed this, but this is the smelliest figure that I've ever had. It's just like the chemical smell from like paint apps or hairspray, strong. But we can see the hair is really nicely done. I do actually quite like that. Now, if we look at the back, how do we get to the eyes? How do we get to the eyes? I'm going to check that out in just a moment. So there should be a way to get to the eyes, which I'll have to explore, but we can see those paint apps. Now, from what I can see, it's nicely done. What I remember is it didn't look like the paint was laid on as thick as on the InArt one, but it looks quite similar. What we're going to do now quickly though is we're going to get the InArt head sculpt out and we'll compare the two. Alright guys, so when it comes to taking off the head sculpt here, it is a bit of a pain in the butt. So that is what this tool here is for. It is to take off the back of the head here. And now it's hard to see, but down here you have a slot. You kind of slot this into, and then you can lift this bit up here. I really hate how that works. If I slide this then off, it kind of like, this is the back of it, which looks like a weird hairpiece. And then you've got access in here for the eyes. It is a really tight kind of slot and quite hard to get to. You'll definitely need the eye tool included just to adjust the eyes, and then you just kind of slide it back in. And you see I've got a bald spot straight away, and you have to kind of smooth this down, which will mean this will require a lot more futzing, and I think once I've kind of got it in place I won't like it. Just to compare the InArt one quickly, so this is obviously the InArt sculpt here, and this is so easy to take off that back part. You just kind of lift it up like so. I don't feel like I need to take it off, and I've got access to the eye thing right there. And then it just slots back down. I don't feel like I need to futz with it as much. So that is one thing to bear in mind. All right then, and here we have the two sculpts side by side at last. And now we can finally get a good look and decide which one do we actually prefer. Now, straight away, I will say, I think the actual likeness to Ledger is better on the InArt one, but the Hot Toys one is a lot more detailed and looks slightly more realistic. Now, I think that's due to the fact that the InArt one here, the white is a lot more stark on it, and it looks a lot more caked on and clean, despite it having, obviously, the bits of the hair, bits of the skin showing throughout. On camera, it looks more obvious. In person, it's a bit of a closer one, but this looks sharper when it comes to its paint apps as well than this one does. This one looks a little bit softer in terms of paint applications than this one, which is interesting to see. Now, when it comes to hair color, and bear with me guys, I'm colorblind as hell, so I did get my girlfriend to confirm this, but the green on this, which by the way I thought was orange, isn't as clear as this one. Now, this is a much lighter shade of green, whereas this is a darker shade of green, but it clearly has some orange undertones as well to it, which is an interesting one. Now, in terms of paint apps, again, I much prefer the red on the Hot Toys one compared to the red here, but just looking at the figure, I don't remember Heath making this expression that much. Now, guys, do correct me down in the comments below, please do, because I would like to know your thoughts. But here we just have both sculpts side by side, just so you can kind of take what you think from it. There's a profile of them both. This sculpt does look a bit bigger, and then, oh, this is hard to do on camera, the profile from the other side as well. Now, obviously there is a bit more to the expression on here, and I do not have the other InArt sculpt to compare against this guy, and the other InArt sculpt is a little bit better, but I did sell the jail version of the Joker, so we can't quite compare the InArt one completely. And although it was more expensive for the price, you get two head sculpts, two bodies, and a good diorama base. This one is again more expensive as an artisan, but you don't get nearly as much stuff with it, so you do have to consider that as well. But there's our Sculpt comparison. Alright, and here we have the Sculpt on the body, and it does look really weird. I won't lie. Now, it's just weird to see a Joker Sculpt on a Batman body, and now I have heard that this was inspired by a cosplayer, and I can understand it. Now, I've seen that cosplay and it looked pretty awesome in those photos, and it also looked quite nice. Now, I will say, although weird, it does look really good on this body, and I really do enjoy it. Now, I've never had one of these Batmans before, so the Bale Batman, sorry, so I am going to have a look at Posability, and his arms are a bit limited, so I'm not sure which version of the body are. So you can only get it up to here. He does have some side to side and some ab crunch as well. And does he have? Yes, he does have a double bend in the elbow, which is good to see, as well as a double bend in the knee, somewhat restricted by the armor as well. And this is kind of all a rubbery-ish material throughout, so posing wise it'll be interesting how that goes. The belt is loose from the figure, which is nice, so when you come to posing and stuff it shouldn't bunch up too much here. Again, you're a bit restricted through the legs, and just a basic boot here, but you do have a ball joint which allows you side to side swivel, although no toe articulation. So that is pretty much the body, and all in all, I do quite like it. It looks nice with the cape as well. It fits in really nicely. I do like this blue colour. It reminds me of different versions of Batman that do have the blue cape, so I like to see it. But guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to whack this guy into some poses, and also we're going to see what this sculpt looks like on the InArt body. Alright, so here we have pose number 1, and I will say this figure poses really nicely. Despite this figure pretty much just being whatever Hot Toys had left over in the shop, it does hit really nicely and looks great on that shelf. I really like the armor and the detail, and especially that paintwork. It really does pop. Also, the cape is quite nice, as we'll see in this next shot. So here we have the grenades in their usual slot, and I actually really like this pose. I didn't use it on my InArt one because I found it quite a faff. These are quite easy to put in here. You can just slot the grenades into the cape and it looks quite nice and quite kind of archaic, which suits. You can also slot the hands into the cape itself, and there are instructions to do so to help hold it up. But this is a really nice pose, and probably how I'll keep this guy posed on my shelf. So here we have the Hot Toys head sculpt on the InArt body, and I have to say, as a kit bash, it works really nicely. Now the head sculpt does kind of fit on, as you can see, but it is definitely loose because it's not exactly the same neck connector, so it doesn't quite work, but it kind of suits the purpose. Now I do like how this looks. The head sculpt on the Hot Toys is larger than the InArt one, but despite that it works quite well. So if you do get this version of the figure, this could be a good way to kind of have both iterations of Joker as well as the fun imposter one as well. And here we have the InArt figure on the right and obviously the Hot Toys one on the left. Now we can't really do a height comparison because it is a Batman body, but you can see the two sculpts side by side and you can kind of decide which of these two you think is the superior sculpt. Honestly, I think both are an absolute win for different reasons and both have pros and cons. Just as a quick check, you can kind of fit the InArt sculpt on this Hot Toys body, but it gives him an absolute giraffe neck, so it's probably something that I wouldn't recommend. Alright guys, time to return to the figure and give my rating. Now, I'm going to give this figure a 7 out of 10. It's a nice looking figure, it pops and stands out on the shelf, but it's really let down by a few facts. Those facts being it is essentially an expensive kit bash of reused parts. Looking at the base, the body, and of course its leftover artisan sculpts, there's nothing really unique here that you won't get in other releases beyond the paint sculpt. I do like the cape. I think the cape looks really nice. I really like the grenade effect on this and how they've made that work with the hands holding the cape. And of course I do love the colour scheme as well, and the fact that this is a bit of a unique figure to have on your shelf. Now my final thoughts on the head sculpt are that it is pretty amazing. I think Hot Toys have done an amazing job. The paint apps are incredibly sharp and well detailed, and it makes the InArt one look like it's a little bit soft compared to this. And also the rooted hair is really nicely done. It does lose some points though because it's really difficult and a bit scary to access the back panel and the moving eye system. So guys, that wraps us up there. Thanks for stopping by to check out another video with me. As always, this is Jim Collector and I'll see you in a future video.